Welcome to the Athletes in Motion podcast, from race to recovery, with your hosts, Tom Riegel and Kenny Bailey.
Hey, Kenny, how are you?
I am fantastic, Tom. How are you?
I'm fantastic as well. We're back after a brief hiatus of a few weeks.
Yeah.
We've had this challenge this year of getting some consistent content out, and I've been crazy, you've been crazy. It's all through, but we still get everyone checking in, and we appreciate all the little notes and the hey, keep up the good work, and when's the next episode coming out? So we're giving you a little touch here, and we've got some other ones that I'm lining up. Working on. We'll have some stuff through the holidays, so you'll have plenty to listen to while you're basking in family fun and trying to avoid politics,
Christmas music,
politics and religion conversations for family over Thanksgiving.
You could just talk about, have you seen that podcast instead? So welcome to the innocuous.
Guess what these guys are up to?
There you go.
So, subscribe. Make sure you keep subscribing. 5 stars, thumbs up. Give us some reviews. Send us some notes. I do appreciate hearing them. I don't always get to respond to everybody. There's a bunch of different ways you can get a hold of us on Facebook, Instagram. I think on our website, you can, through Buzzsprout, you can actually send us a text message as well. So send us some notes, and we'll try to respond to them and get some stuff up. Give us some ideas of stuff you want to talk about. So let's get started. Kenny, we've got your steps away from Hyrox. We talked about this a couple episodes ago. How's it been going? What's happening?
It's been kind of a unique experience. It was, my wife started getting back to training. She was doing great, and I was looking for the next sort of thing to do. And so we're going in as a mixed couple. She's signed up. We're going to be in Chicago on the 15th of November.
Nice.
Competing together. It's the first thing we've ever competed together with. We've been in the same race before, but we were never dependent on one another.
Mm-hmm.
I did the California International Marathon with her. The sim, when I got done about 15 minutes ahead of her, and I was a puddle. My calves are on fire. I could barely walk. She gets done, and she's like, "Oh, that's it. I miss it." So her approach to racing and my approach to racing are entirely different. So this should be an interesting one.
Yeah.
But the training is really kind of interesting from a endurance sports perspective. It's basically akin to doing a brick, which is basically you run and then you're going to go. So imagine doing a brick, except your bike portion of your brick is going to be an 8% climb. That's kind of what it is. So for those who don't know, it's a series of 8 exercises, and around each exercise is a 1 kilometer run. So you start as a 1 kilometer run, and then you go do kind of the skier, where it's a simulated ski. You go do a kilometer. The second one is you take a 335-pound sled and you push that for 15 meters or 50 meters. And then you do the sled pull. And then so every time you do these things, you do this big high intensity thing, and then you go run a kilometer. So that's what makes it unique. CrossFit is usually just big Olympic movements. So they say that people that burned out on CrossFit generally do Hyrox, and then burned out triathletes kind of do Hyrox as well. Which,
triathletes who are being forced to do some strength training get excited.
Yes. And so
find they're good at Hyrox.
Yeah, so I and learned that skipping leg day is a bad idea, because it's all legs. So you're pushing a sled, you're pulling a sled, it's all lower body.
Yeah.
So we've been training. My wife and I've been training. We each have a coach, a trainer. And this last Saturday was the first time we actually trained together. Like, I had to do transitions and all that sort of stuff. So, but it went well. I think there's sort of strategy on this as a mixed pair, because there's ways in which you hand off of a 45-pound sandbag.
So how does that work in the race when there's the two of you? You're not both doing every single effort, right?
That's correct.
You're trading off.
So
strengths
for example,
and weaknesses, maybe.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have to run together on the 1,000 kilometers. So you run 1,000 kilometers, or excuse me, 1,000 meters.
Yeah, 1,000 meters.
A kilometer.
1K. Yeah.
1K. Sorry, that sounds really long. 1,000 kilometers.
Yeah.
So 7.5 hours later. No. So we do a 1K run, and then we both have to go into the station at the same time, and it's very formal.
Mm-hmm.
For example, when we're doing the sled push, we have to do a 50-meter push, or 40 meters, something like that. It's a 335-pound sled. It's not fun.
Yeah.
And it gets buried into the carpet, and so there's a technique to do it.
There's a total technique.
I pushed for a while until my quads kind of hurt, and then I stopped. I could either do the whole thing by myself, and she just follows me the whole time, or vice versa. And so just, it has to get done, but you have to stay within your little box. Like she can't touch the sled when I'm on the sled, I can't, or vice versa, because when you do a sled pull, you're pulling with a rope. I can't touch that rope to get it out of her way. I can't help her in any way. So when you're on the apparatus, you are a solo being, but we can switch off as much as we want. So for example, when we get to the 1,000-meter, I'm probably going to do 250, get off, let her do 250. So that way our heart rate stays down. So the whole point is keep that heart rate down, keep it steady.
So you don't want to redline this whole thing.
No.
Because you'll never finish.
Or pick your red line. Right. Yeah. So, and then you have to do 100 wall balls is the last thing you have to do. So you have to just, and again, she does really well on things that I don't do well. I tend to get injured when I do walking lunges. So she's taking over most of the walking lunges. I'm a little bit bigger than she is. So I'm going to be pushing a heavy sled. I'll probably do a majority of that. And then we have a farmer's carry, which is a 52-pound bells on either side, and you can go as fast as humanly possible, and I can walk really fast. So I'm probably just going to own that one.
Yeah.
So there's certain things we do trade-offs, and when I get tired, and the idea is that you don't want to blow up your legs or don't want to blow up, so you go to the point where you can then hand it off to the next person. So there's a ton of strategy when it comes to that. So that's what makes it kind of fun. Yeah. It's similar to triathlon, right? It's the same thing where you don't win it on a bike, but you can certainly, lose it on a bike, right? How you go out on your swim, that kind of thing. Where you run, do weight and do negative splits, or how you do that, how you hydrate. I mean, the funny part about it, the whole thing, we estimate the whole thing's gonna be done in 90 minutes, which is kind of cracking me up. So I'm used to like getting ready for a 5 to 6 hour, or 12 to 14 hour Ironman. And it's like 90 minutes later, I'm gonna be like, okay, well, where's a Chicago dog and, and a bag of ice to, put on my hamstring.
It's a sprint race. It's a sprint.
Yeah. So it's fun. It's a unique experience for me because it allows me to do kind of heavy stuff. But at the same time, the irony is the 1 kilometer run is actually rest time. Like heart rate goes down, I'm able to just do a nice cruise, and then you go back and you start, pushing a really heavy sled for a while, and then your heart rate spikes.
That's your recovery.
You get that done. So I'm doing my recovery is actually my run, which is weird because we're not, again, we're not going for a podium. This is our first one. We know our age, and oh, by the way, she's younger than I am. So what they do is they take her age and my age, they put it together, you average it, and that's the age group that you're in. Because that was the first question I had. Like, and they also have women's weights and men's weight, but in the mix, that you have to use the men's. So she's actually doing it heavier than what her peers would have done if she just did solo.
Good for her.
So yeah, it's same thing. It's the same type of kind of workout type, right? It's 5 days a week kind of stuff. You do some running because you just need to have lungs, and then you go do some heavy stuff. And this is constant brick. So today was 5 800-meter runs with 5 of the 8 stations that I did today as sort of a readiness.
Nice.
You do tests like once a month. You do a readiness test to find out what your time is and where that's going and where your strength is at. So it's very similar, but it'll be interesting. Either the joke is we're either going to be stronger for it, or I'm going to have to go buy an apartment.
Well, that's the question is, so how did the first training together go this weekend?
It went well. I mean, I think we're a lot older, right? I think, in the past I used to do road racing and you don't just want to beat somebody. You want to make sure you crush them. You want to make sure that, that Euro trash kind of thing, right? I want you to regret that you even purchased a bike. That's how bad I want to beat you. Where my wife is like, can we just have a good time? So I think we're going to go back to that. So again, we go back to the, know my age, just enjoy it and have a good time. It'll be the first time, like I said, we do something together. And I think it's going to be, I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
That's cool.
There's no pressure. We're not putting any time. This is completely new. So I can't I think I'm going to get this kind of time. It's just, let's just go figure this thing out. There's 20,000 people doing this thing. It's insanely big. And then, like I said, you're in Chicago, so you either go get a Molinari's or a decent steak or a hot dog and call it a day.
Yeah. Well, that'll be exciting. I can't wait to hear about that, how it went, because that seems like it's an interesting sport that's been bouncing up, right? It's, as you said before, it's kind of taken over where CrossFit has kind of flatlined a little bit. And a lot of people are kind of moving to this, and it's amazing because anyone who did CrossFit hated running, and that was their weakest thing was having to run on super tired legs. And then that's something that we've found works really well for us, right? How to have a bulletproof run in a triathlon or an ultra, how to make those legs strong. And yeah, it's perfect.
The same applies to this. I mean, I've talked to 2 of the pros, and first thing they out of their mouth is, I said, "What do I need to do?" He's like, "Run. Just get used to running because
You
it's all
have
going
to
to
build
be."
that aerobic base.
Yeah.
So this
And
is
the good
my
news is I
segue
had that
into
already to a certain extent.
yeah. Well, you did.
It wasn't good, but
Well, it
yeah,
wasn't at your peak for sure,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
But you have that base, that kind of fitness that's part of endurance sports, that's part of triathlon. That's why I said it's a perfect segue into, off-season type stuff. So Hyrox is a good off-season because we want you lifting weights, we want you building strength, but we also want you building that aerobic base. And for anyone who's new or newer to the sport or, kind of getting their feet wet for whatever reason, is just getting in there, and it's like you always say, well, I'm running and my heart rate spikes and it's hard to go that slow. Well, ultimately that's because you don't have the aerobic base fitness. So what do you have to do? You have to slow down, you have to walk. So if you can do a brisk walk, then you shouldn't be running, right? So we need to build that. If you really take the time and patience and take the steps to build that aerobic base that properly, wow, the sky's the limit. What you can do down
yeah,
the road, 2 years later, 3 years later, you can do all these fun sports. It's really something special, but most people don't have the patience to do that, and they jump ahead and they're running those 1K runs
yeah.
where they're practically redlining.
Yeah.
And they're, 20 beats per minute, higher than
Yeah.
it's supposed to be. And you're just setting yourself up for inflammation and injury. So,
Yeah, I was thinking about this too, like post Hyrox. I have a friend of ours that's actually going to be racing a 50-kilometer trail run. And that's always intriguing to me on the off season to go do trail running because of 2 things. Well, 3 things. You put your watch away because normally what you do on a road run is you're like, if I'm not doing this particular pace, I'm somehow, right? You can't do that on a trail run. You just can't. Well, you can, but you have to be really good. I don't think people are that good at it.
no, most people
The second thing
aren't
is
that good.
it relies you to pick up your feet. And yes, by the way, you're going to force to walk. You're not going to be running those steep of hills to be able to do that. So that idea of just getting out there, turning your watch off because it doesn't matter anyway. Right, it just measures on total time. And then having to just go side to side and be able to use those muscles and be able to do something besides just that straight ahead thing is a great off season to do. And you're out in the woods. There's nothing wrong with that.
It breaks it up. I always encourage my athletes to go out and do some trail running for those specific things to build strength.
Yeah.
It's in nature. It's a little bit more exciting. Yeah. It mixes up your footfall and your stride.
Yeah, exactly.
I talk with some of my in-laws like to do board games and puzzles and things like that to keep their mind sharp. Like we're all getting older and we want to do things cerebral. I'm not that interested in those things. I tell them my thing is I like to run downhill really fast because I have to look and I have to know exactly where that foot is going to step, and then I have to spring off and put the next one down. And that's what I find exciting about it, right? That's keeps my mind sharp because it's running downhill super fast. Yeah, that's where you got to pick your feet up real quick and you got to place them in the right spot. And if you misplace, you have to be able to shift your weight really quickly.
Yes.
Otherwise, you're going down, you're tearing things, and it's ugly. So, and no one wants to do that.
Well, I think also off season to me, it's sort of early off season in the winter, like early, the late in the embers, October, December, November.
Just, that's good.
Just go. You're going to kind of slow down anyway. You're going to have to go to, Thanksgiving events and Christmas events. So first off, just give yourself a little bit of break, kind of, enjoy the family time. They've been putting up with you. Yeah. So it's time to return the favor and just kind of do those kind of fun exercises, or go with your spouse or your significant other and do a nice, go walk the dogs. Just do something that's active, but it doesn't have to be, strapped to a watch to figure out what's going on.
Definitely unstructured.
And then,
definitely
early on, you can start doing the, those base build kind of runs where you don't go above 145 and, that kind of thing. But take the embers to kind of, remind yourself why, to me, it's again, you spent most of the year, training and giving up Saturdays and Sundays to do silly things. And, so letting those significant others see you. Yeah.
Actually go out and spend some time with them, right? Actually take walks with them, do some runs with them, do some hiking. Hiking is great. Yeah. Power hiking.
Yeah.
I call it power hiking, but it's just hiking as anything that's a kind of uphill. You're taking some of the trails. Once again, you don't have to be tearing through them, but you keep moving on it, keep your body moving, keep it active. Watch the calorie intake, don't overdo it. I mean, you can put on Like, you put on a little bit of weight. You don't have to stay super lean and trim, fight that in the off season. Let your body relax a little bit. Don't go crazy and add 20 pounds on. Like, I know some people that have done, like, that's unhealthy, but there should be a little bit of a, a little bit of a flow, and certainly not structured. And then, so you take 4 to 6 weeks where you're just non-structured, just doing some fun moving, and then start building on what you want to build for next year. Where are the weaknesses? Strength is always something you should work on. And then, is it in the pool? I'm going to work on specific things. And then you start doing a little bit more structured, but more focused on form.
Yeah.
For the swim, the bike, the run, whatever it is. Yeah. Mechanics, fundamentals, get back to the fundamentals. That's the most key thing, is just consistent fundamentals. And then that's your basis for the whole next season. So you're jumping off.
Yeah. I mean, it reminds me of
it
reminds me of Tom Brady. I mean, the guy won 5 Super Bowls at the time, and in the off season, he goes to Northern California and still works on footwork. The guy's got 5 Super Bowls. He's, first ballot Hall of Fame. He's like one of the most decorated quarterbacks out there, and he's still working on fundamental footwork in the off season because he knows that those things is what continues to get him there. And that to me is like, that was always an inspiring thing. It's like, what are you doing? Well, I'm going back to my old high school coach and working on footwork.
Yeah.
It's like,
and it's the most basic stuff. Watch the players, especially the good players, but watch all the players like pregame stuff if you're watching an NFL game or something like that. And you'll see them over there, and they're doing these little silly, look like little silly drills. It's step, whatever. And they've got, even the linemen have drills and things that they do. They have techniques. They have a 5-hand technique and a 4-hand technique and things. And it's just it's a pattern, and they just run it over and over because it needs to be second nature.
Yeah.
No one rises to the occasion. You fall back to your training. So if your training is sloppy and your fundamentals are sloppy, when you get to the race, you're just going to revert to your fundamentals, which are terrible, right? So if you actually work on those fundamentals, then you don't have to think about them, right? But in the beginning, they're really boring.
Yeah.
Especially swimming. I know people hate it, but look at Katie Ledecky is working, and she gets faster and faster. All of them get faster and faster because they're working on, like, their pinky is up just a fraction, right? And there's a thousandth of a second, and they're working on that. The rest of us have our head out of the water, and we're sinking, and we've got a lot more obvious stuff to work on, but it's just focusing on 1 or 2 things and just really, hammering it home.
That's a good point.
The fundamentals.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Fundamentals.
So switching gears slightly, I understand that you were out at Gravel Revival.
Oh, Gravel Revival, yeah, because I had Shannon Burke on here, and we were talking about Gravel Revival, meeting up. We got to see him again there, which was great. So Gravel Revival is a great race. It's put on out here in Hickman County, Tennessee, out near Centerville. And they've got 10, I think there's an 11-mile, 30, 40, 60, 100, like every distance you want. And we're camping out. You can stay overnight and camp out. You can bring RVs if you want, but it's an amazing event. I think they had somewhere around 500
neat
riders. They've also added in some trail running as well. So they've got a handful of trail runners that were doing different distances that were out there. So if your spouse was riding a bike and you wanted to run, great. That way it made it more of a family thing. It was perfect. We had good weather right up till Saturday night. So the event, you get there Friday. There's a shakeout ride Friday. Then there's a starlight ride where they actually ride out, turn all their lights off, and you can see the stars. Cool. It's so pitch black out there. It's amazing. And then they put their lights on and come back. It's like 2 miles or something like that. It's just kind of a fun thing. And then Saturday's the big event. They got bands playing Friday night, Saturday night. And then Sunday is a 20-mile ride to, I think it's 20 mile total. It's like 10 miles to a winery for lunch and back. And everyone parks and goes home. So we had a storm roll through on Saturday night, and they didn't do the Sunday.
Oh, okay.
The Sunday winery ride didn't happen because there was some heavy thunder, big storms that roll through here in Middle Tennessee, and I was there. I brought Wendy, came with me this time, and we had, of course, Rosie with us. So we packed up and actually left on Saturday night because the weather did not look favorable for us to be in a tent. So
with a storm. Yeah, Tennessee storms. I mean, they're
Tennessee
fierce when
storms
they come
can
in, so.
get nasty this time of year,
Yeah.
and certainly in the spring they're even worse. They can be worse. So we ended up bailing out because Sunday morning's not much. We were going to just pack up and go for me anyway because I was set up as a vendor. I did ride the 11 mile on the mountain bike and had a blast. Definitely checked my. It's kind of vindication to go like your watch and the calculations that you do tell you what your max heart rate is. And as we get older, it tells you a much lower number than you would want.
Yeah.
Like, that's my ego, right? So, and when you do the calculations, your age minus whatever, this is what your max heart rate should be. Like, I'm a good almost 15 beats per minute over that.
That's awesome.
And I was able to test that out because it was 11 miles and about 900, just over 900 feet of climbing. So there was 2 relatively big climbs, and we went out and had fun. I went out towards the back and actually just kind of was passing people and having fun and blasting up this thing. And I redlined up the big long climb. I totally redlined and hit. Yeah, I maxed out. I was pretty
That's funny.
Pretty shagged after the at the end of this thing for 11 miles. It was a blast. It was a blast.
I remember, has you gone on a podium for that one too? Did you?
I did come in third overall on that one, which was kind of fun. Funny. They don't have that one technically as a race, so they don't give anything out for that one. But we came in, I came across and there was nobody else around, and they said, "Oh, you're third." I'm like, "Third what?" Oh. Like third. They're like third overall. I'm like, I left at the back of the group.
Yeah.
And there were riders all over the place doing different mileages and things. So we were we just followed the route and hammered it. And
That's funny.
I stopped once. There's a great Photoshop spot that they do with a church pew up on the top of the big climb. And they were handing out the Athletic Brewing. I was handing out beers at the top, which was great. So I got a great photo of me lounging on the
That's awesome.
The top of the big climb.
So I think
it was pretty epic. It was pretty epic.
I think when you look at, and maybe that's the misnomer on my part. When you look at the website and you look at it, it can be kind of intimidating. It's not a bunch of 140-pound like gravel pro racers out there doing that.
No, there's no pros there. There's some fast guys, but it's a family friendly. I mean, there's rest areas out there. Like the idea is that you do the distance, right? You choose the distance and you go. We were cruising along, just chit chatting with people.
Yeah.
A couple people got lost. They missed a turn for their ride and ended up jumping on another one. It is a timed event. So there is a timing chip, and there is, as a race, but there's, you're always going to have
if you want to race it, you do. If you don't,
cruise
you don't,
off the front. The rest of everybody that went, there was a good group from the Beat Tri Club over here who I think it was their first time on gravel.
Yeah.
I'll just say because I hope they're listening. It was cute to hear them say like, "Oh, we'll be done in an hour. It's 11 miles." And it's just like we'll be, And I went, "Really?
Okay.
And you've never ridden gravel before, and you're on a mountain bike? Okay.
Have fun.
Let's see what happens."
That's
funny.
It
took them a little longer than that. They were like,
"Well,
it
sounds like it's more
flat.
like a half marathon or a marathon thing, right? It's like some people are gonna be out front and let them go out front, right? Let those people that are
let them go.
Kind of let them go, and then you can.
There's
just
some
go,
really talented riders, and they're amazing to watch.
Yeah.
But everybody goes off. Most people on the longer distances have their little hydration pack, and they've got their bikes all set up. Like it's a mix of gravel and mountain bikes.
There you go.
It's just whatever you need. You just need knobbier tires. You just can't do it on a straight road bike. It's a little too sketchy. And if you haven't spent time on gravel, the only thing that's like, this is not mountain bike-ish, right? So there's some potholes here and there that you have to keep an eye out for. And it's fall, right? So the leaves are falling down while we're riding. And they cover the little holes. So every once in a while, you got to get used to,
a little bit
getting a little slam with the front end like you hit a pothole. So you got to be a little careful of that. You've got to pay attention to where you're going. But the biggest thing is coming around corners in loose, granular dirt and gravel and sand. The bikes don't grip. The tires don't grip. So you can't just hook the corner, lean in and go, right? And certainly not pedal through it. So you have to, kind of manage a wider turn on some of these. And I think it's probably the descents that probably got more people, kind of getting a little squirrely. And you see a couple people come back, a little scraped up knees and little stuff like that. But for the most part, that's all it is. I mean, you're just going out there and you're just keeping an eye out and just weaving around for potholes and, other stuff that's out there. Hickman County is great for this because they've got a lot of gravel roads.
Yeah.
And this is their regular roads. You're out there, and there were cars on them. Like there's, people,
that's crazy.
farms and other stuff. So it's like
yeah.
you had to pay attention. You had to respect the road. You couldn't just ride, 6 wide on certain sections. You had to pay attention because it was coming up on a corner and there could be, a farm vehicle around the side or something. So with that many people out there, it's, you need to pay attention. You need to stay focused on it, but anybody can do it. I hope those guys come back.
And that's what's kind of neat.
Do it again.
Yeah, and I think you just got to, like you said, the first couple of times your bike gets loose around a corner, right? You pucker, but it holds, right?
Yeah.
You just got to kind of get used to that, like because when you're on a tri bike or a road bike, nothing gets loose, right? You're stuck. Yeah. It's almost like NASCAR, right? Where this thing is like, you're gonna do a little spin and you're gonna be like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
as
you're
long
going to
as you
drift.
don't freak
you're
out.
going to drift the back
end. Yeah, you're
going to drift
a little bit.
You're going to drift the front end a little bit. You're just kind of going.
This is going to be a little looser. Yeah.
So the wider the tire you have, the better the grip, and then that sets you up for what kind of tire tread. So people talk about the knobbies versus they get a gravel bike and they get more of a road surface on it. That's great. Not the greatest thing for gravel, right? Better for road, so you're not trying to grip, and it's the outer side of the tire itself that gives you the grip, right? So as you lean the corner in, if it's got a little bit more knobbies on the outside, it's going to grip a little bit better for you. So that's what you set it up for. This is not super technical. Actually, it's not technical at all. Mountain biking type stuff. So I've got a mountain bike with a 29er with a 2 3/4 inch or 2.3 inch wide tires, and it goes fine. Like it just soared through it. So was able to grab, was able to go.
Well, it sounds like.
I was
just sounds like jealous. I want to go do this again. I think next year I'll put it on the.
Well, you got to do it next year for sure. I'll probably be out there again. I have no reason not to. It's on my calendar. Once they set the date, it's in October.
Do I have to be in a tent though? I'm old. Can I get it?
You can get an RV. It was great because we just showed up. I set up the vendor tent. I've got my sleeping tent right next to it, and the car is right there. Right. So we just set everything up, get my little stuff up that I have, and then just sit down and relax. And Wendy's like, this is it. This is it. We get to chill. I didn't do the shakeout ride, which I probably should have done, but I need to be there because I'm,
you're
selling stuff. So going there for conversation and chit-chatting and everything like that. And then that's where I'm like, I go off for the shorter ride in the morning. But they had a solo acoustic guitar singer
that's awesome.
On Friday night. He covered every genre. And sounded fabulous. Awesome. He was fantastic. The band that was playing on Saturday night was fantastic. They do a big bonfire Saturday night. And it's just chill and hang out. And it's all a bunch of vendors there from, Wahoo and Specialized and a couple of the bike shops. And Moab sponsors it and puts it on. You've got REI. You've got Shannon was there from Tennessee Gravel. Bike Tennessee was there. There's a few other things. Bike Walk Franklin, I think, was there.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, he was there. Kanamichi. There's a whole little area you can just chit chat and hang out with people, and then it's just like everyone's just hanging out. It's such a nice
community. I mean, it's just people are just kind of there to, like you said, it's super chill and have a good time, get a good ride in.
Yep.
Tell stories over the fire, that kind of thing.
They got beers flowing. They've got food trucks.
Perfect.
You got food trucks that you can get. Hattie B's was there. Shout out to Hattie B's because that was good
That's
stuff.
what you need right before you ride is super hot chicken.
Oh, right after.
I was going to say, you don't do that before.
Hattie B's and a beer afterwards. Yeah, no, definitely not. Although they were there Friday night. I had the mild chicken.
I was going to say
strips.
Only the crazy ones would do that.
Exactly. But that was fantastic. That was a really good event, and I'll have to do another shout out to Shannon Burke at Tennessee Gravel because there's a bunch of events coming up that he puts on that are fantastic. Plus, I also touch base with the fact that he's doing the rides and curating. There's 52 of them right now around Tennessee, not gravel rides, road rides around Tennessee. That's curated for Bike Tennessee, which is part of the Visit Tennessee tourism thing. So he's actually working with them, and it's fantastic. And they're trying to do a rail to trail course out near Jamestown, out through that. I can't remember the county that's out there. They're trying to do that because
love that notion of it, right? It's just converted to a trail.
It's fantastic. It makes it nice and easy because it's going to be flat, right? Because the railroads didn't do well going up steep hills. So it's going to be there. If they can actually get this all pulled together, they'll have a nice, I think she said it was going to be 42 miles one way.
Wow.
Of just,
that'd be fantastic.
Like Greenway. just to go
Yeah.
ride. So there's a lot of good stuff going on like that. I'm trying to get her on the podcast. We'll have her to
That'd
talk
be great.
about some of the stuff they're doing with that, so she can give us some more information on that. But really good stuff
Cool.
happening in the world of riding here in Tennessee.
Yeah.
And
Good.
around. So
Should be
it's
exciting.
good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got that. So and then we'll get through to next year and figure out. We'll do a wrap up. We'll do a wrap up show for the year, and then we'll
There you
do an upcoming. And I'm about to scoot out to see Carell, our favorite nutritionist, Carell Laurent, who does her bike retreats out in Portugal. So I'm about to get on a plane
How exciting.
and
So-
go do the retreat. So
So
we're taking off to do that. Really excited to spend about 9 or 10 days in Portugal riding bikes.
yeah,
So
we'll have to talk about that when
that's
you get back on the next episode. Just how is
Definitely.
Portugal? You're
It'll be
probably going to
good.
gain weight. It sounds like, you ride for a while, you eat a lot. you ride
Not
for a
with
while.
Carell's. We're going to eat very well, but we're not going
There
to
you
eat
go.
bad.
Yeah, do.
And we're going to be riding every day. So we're going to ride to cafes
Lean and
for
mean.
lunch, and
So
we'll
sounds
do
glorious.
exactly what I want to do,
Yeah.
which would be a nice break for the way this year
Sounds
is
good.
shaken out. So it's all good. So cool. So thanks everybody for listening, continuing to listen, and make sure you subscribe. And as I said before, let us know your feedback. Give us 5 stars, thumbs up. Share this with everybody you know. I know there's a lot of people I talked to at Gravel Revival that were scanning the code, so hopefully they're popping in and listening.
Hi, guys.
Keep it up. We appreciate you all. Yeah, that's it. Thanks, Kenny. And
Thanks, Tom.
until next time,